Electronic Data Safety Bill, first reading.
I call Claire Curran.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I move that the Electronic Data Safety Bill be now read a first time, and I nominate the Commerce Committee to consider the bill. Mr Speaker, New Zealanders need to have the utmost confidence that their personal information held by government is secure and private, and there have been numerous and very high-profile incidents in recent years that have shaken that confidence. The establishment of an Electronic Data Safety Commission, which is what this bill does, will help restore confidence. Mr Speaker, this should not be a partisan issue. Every member of this House understands the need for privacy and security of information in conducting their roles as MPs. We must ensure that the information the state holds regarding members of the public is treated with the same care and respect that we expect the information that we deal with as MPs to be treated. The privacy, and we must ensure that the electronic systems used are robust, resourced, modern and regularly audited. But there's a growing body of evidence that this is not the case. And if the government's intention today is to vote against this bill because it claims that the numerous issues with data security over recent years are minor and isolated incidents and that they have been addressed by a few internal appointments, then I ask that they put that claim to the test by establishing the Electronic Data Safety Commission to reassure the public. There's a widespread perception that personal data is not safe with government. And that perception is misplaced. If that perception is misplaced, then this commission will show that. Mr Speaker, the Privacy Commissioner's 2014 annual survey of the public showed that 63% of us rate highly their level of concern about the privacy of their information, and this has remained very high over recent years. The Privacy Commissioner's Office gets an increasing number of data breaches notified every year, the vast majority in the private sector, and in the 2013-14 year, that was 113, up from 16 in 2008 and 2009. 86 of those were in the private sector, across government and in the hospital and other health agencies. These are important breaches and they are significant. Almost a year ago, the previous Minister of Justice, Judith Collins, announced significant changes to the Privacy Act that would give the Privacy Commissioner more powers to compel public and private sector organisations to report privacy breaches. In May 2014, Judith Collins said it's vital New Zealanders have confidence in our privacy laws and that people know that their information is in safe hands. She said she was going to introduce legislation for mandatory reporting of data breaches, new offences and increased fines, enhanced powers for the Privacy Commissioner and various other things. Now, Mr Speaker, that's nearly a year ago. That legislation isn't even on our order paper. Where is it? Well, a little birdie tells me that it might have got lost, and that is a significant worry, and I ask the current Minister of Justice where that legislation is. Mr Speaker, there are fundamental concerns about IT governance and accountability, as well as the wider government attitude to privacy that's got to be addressed. The national government must answer for a long line of recent privacy breaches, which include breaches at ACC, the Ministry of Social Development, the Earthquake Commission, Housing New Zealand, the New Zealand Medical Council, Immigration New Zealand, and most recently, the Ministry of Justice. Two other very recent privacy breaches include the Southern District Health Board, labelled incompetent after accidentally sending the privacy health details of 60 patients to a member of the public. In January this year, a privacy breach blunder resulted in the personal details of more than 600 females, some as young as 13, who had abortions in the central North Island, being given to Fairfax media. These are recent occurrences, Mr. Speaker. These have not been dealt with. This is systemic. Today, I revealed in question time that there are deeply concerning high-level risks identified within the Department of Internal Affairs, which Peter Dunn is the Minister of, that are leaving government networks vulnerable to attack, including security controls not functioning, lack of ability to investigate malicious activity, insecure information transmitted over the DIA cloud provider networks and other cloud provider networks. But the Minister has denied that under his watch, no government system has gone live without accreditation from the New Zealand Institute of Safety Management and sign-off from the CEO of DIA. Well, you would have thought they'd have learnt from NovaPay, Mr. Speaker. You would have thought they would have learnt from the Bungles. It's my understanding that there have been IT systems going live without accreditation, without sign-off. They include the desktop as a service cloud provider networks. Many vendor systems are either insecure, accessed by foreign nationals locally, accessed via contractual agreements by third parties overseas, often with poor sanitation of data or all four of those together. These are extremely important, significant issues happening right now in one of our most important government agencies. John Key has been consistently blasé in the face of recurring privacy breaches. There's a distinction between one-off mistakes and a systemic, widespread privacy problem that is not being resolved. Mr. Speaker, the Commission of Inquiry in my bill is needed because more and more personal information is being collected electronically by the government, and we need to ensure proper rules and guidances are set in place to protect the privacy of New Zealanders in an increasingly sophisticated environment. I know many members on that side claim to take data security and the privacy of the public very seriously. Well, now we get to see if they live up to their rhetoric by supporting this bill. National should vote for this bill because this bill will assist the government in achieving one of their, quote, better public service targets. Target number 10, quote, an average of 70% of New Zealanders' most common transactions with government will be completed in a digital environment by 2017. The number is currently at 46%. To lift this to 70% by 2017, New Zealanders will need to have greater confidence in the security of their transactions. A commission that assesses the problems with data security and recommends solutions can only help the current government in achieving this target. It would be somewhat perverse for the government to vote against this bill for purely partisan reasons when it actually helps them achieve one of their stated election promises. And Peter Dunn should support this bill. The Minister of Internal Affairs claimed today that he believed, in question time, that he believes New Zealanders' personal information was being managed securely in his department. Well, he needs to vote for the bill to prove that this is the case. He originally pledged to support this bill, Mr. Speaker, as you heard in question time, but that was before he got caught out leaking confidential documents to the media and then attempting to mislead the public about it. After he was stood down as the Revenue Minister, he was, a few months later, without any hint of irony, appointed as Minister of Internal Affairs, responsible for data security. Well, if Mr. Dunn wants to have any credibility, he should be up here today voting for this bill to show that there is probity, that there are proper processes happening within his own ministry. And David Seymour, the ACT member for Epsom, spoke of liberty in his maiden speech and improving public policy so that, quote, free individuals may flourish. Well, surely if Mr Seymour is going to be true to his libertarian beliefs, he must vote for this bill to ensure that the state is handling the information of private individuals, which is the private property of those individuals, in the most appropriate and careful manner. Voting this bill through to Select Committee is the first step that we can receive public submissions on the security of data and discuss how the effectiveness of the Commission could be improved. We owe it to the public to ensure their personal information is treated with the respect it deserves.